Amer Khan from Next Door and Window. We were talking about the wide range and prices that people can get when they seek out quotes for windows and doors, and how they can almost get sticker shock on the higher end of things, and the range can be so extreme that they often say, well, the lower one, maybe, I don't know. But you're talking about what goes into those ranges. You talked about materials, and fiberglass is maybe that best option, most expensive probably as well, too.
Not necessarily.
Oh, really?
Fiberglass is not necessarily the most expensive solution. There are, some very high-quality wood windows that are very, very high up there, and not because of the price of the wood. It's actually because of the price of the heavy-duty extruded aluminum that goes to protecting the wood, right? And then the finishing that is required. You have to get the wood sealed and painted. Roy was just asking me in the break here, maintenance of windows. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
right?
you mentioned you got to keep the maintenance up. What does that mean?
One of the simple maintenance examples is, many homes in Chicagoland, Frank Lloyd Wright inspired and whatnot, have casement windows, right?
What are casement windows, if you don't know?
The windows that crank out.
Okay.
Right? They don't go up and down or side by side, but the ones that crank out. Crank windows. Everybody calls them crank windows, right?
Crank left and right, not up and down.
Not up and down. Let's say you keep the windows open, it starts raining, you run over, you close the window so that water doesn't come in.
Right.
But the window itself has now gotten
got a little
wet.
rain on it, right?
It's still raining outside. A couple of hours later when the rain stops, do you go outside and take the window, open the window, and wipe it down?
No.
Who does this? Who has the time for this?
Nobody's going to remember.
0% of the population does that.
Right after I test my sump.
Of course.
Right after you test your
Boy's
sump
got to
pump,
come up from the
you go
basement,
check the windows,
does
right?
the crank.
I could just
he pumps
picture
and he cranks, and we're all
That's
good.
all Roy's doing when he gets home. Is just doing home preventative maintenance around his house the whole day.
Water. Where's water?
Hello,
Where's water?
retirement.
Yes.
But the idea is, if you are not able to devote that kind of time, the easiest solution.
If you're a basic human being, yes, okay.
Any normal couple,
Yes.
especially couples with kids and whatnot, right? It's impossible to do that. So the most common alternative that has become the most popular nationwide is just vinyl, right? It's inexpensive to manufacture, easy to put in. The only issue is it doesn't work in every climate. That's the biggest problem. In high heats, a plastic-based product will always have a lot of expansion and a lot of contraction in the winter. So there are a couple of solutions that came out. There are some composites that are decent, but the fiberglass has been around for a long time, where it's completely thermoset. It's glass after all. You can make speedboats out of fiberglass. And completely waterproof. It doesn't expand and contract. So you're looking at longevity. So looking at quotes for your window replacement project, right? You have to understand, what is the intended goal. Am I going to be in this house for a long time? Why not go for a long-term solution rather than a short-term solution?
Right. And windows are something that has a resale benefit, right? When
Absolutely.
someone,
Absolutely. So that's a very good topic that we discussed actually a few shows ago, repair versus replacement, right?
Right.
Let's say you have a 35-year-old house with 35-year-old windows. Some glasses are failed, some wood sections are bad, no big deal. You go and repair that, what are you left with?
Right.
35-year-old windows.
A pretty good 35-year-old window.
Right.
Pretty good 35-year-old
Which
window.
is good for now, but
even the technology did not exist that it
no.
exists now.
Yeah.
When it comes to energy efficiency gains and stuff that we've made with the modern advent of latest, energy efficiency technology. So
they weren't worried about energy efficiency in the 80s? No.
They weren't worried about anything in the 80s, buddy.
Right? We were not talking about electric cars
Yes.
in the mainstream. So the idea is that's why replacement gives you that added value to your home, just like you mentioned, versus just a repair.
Right.
And you should not have to, as I said, to Janelle earlier, that her industry is completely perpetual, and it will be every single year. Windows and door structural stuff, Mega Pros, the things you do, should not be every year thing.
No.
It should be do it once, forget about it 15 to 20 to 30 years,
Right.
actually.
Wow.
Right?
A generation.
Exactly.
Could be, yeah.
You should not replace windows more than once in your ownership of a home.
Wow.
You're wasting money when you're doing that.